Good morning and welcome to the KNX UK Annual Conference 2022, hosted today at London's Excel in the Docklands. For any of you travelling here today, you may have encountered some travel misery. The unions are closing the tubes today. It has made the journey here a bit of an adventure, I will say. However, we are all here now and ready to give you the latest information about KNX UK, our plans for the next 12 months and where we've been working over the last 12. Today I'm going to present to you the future of KNX UK. It's a short presentation of about 20 minutes. Hopefully I'll cover all the points that we need to, but as always our resources are very strong, and if you have any questions post this presentation, please feel free to get in touch in the usual manner. So, the KNX UK Annual Conference 2022. The future of KNX in the UK is looking extremely bright. In the last 24 months, with COVID, with Brexit, the KNX market has continued to grow, both globally and here in the UK. We have more KNX partners here now in this country than we've ever had, and business continues to grow from strength to strength. People finding KNX as a solution provider, implementing it into their businesses and making a great success of it. Future Build, the first show this year that we've attended. It precedes ISE, it precedes Light and Building, and it's going to be a really good gauge of where people are at with their intent to come to exhibitions. And from what I've seen so far today, it's being very well attended. My name's Iain Gordon. I'm an active member of the board for KNX UK, have been involved for a long time. I'm also a business owner based in Hampshire, in the south of England, and my background is electrical contracting, but we've upskilled as a business and we provide KNX solutions to people for their homes and businesses, and have been doing so for almost 20 years now. So KNX UK, what are KNX UK? KNX UK is a collective of members who have an interest in KNX as a protocol and as a solution within the United Kingdom. The only requirement we have for membership is that you are based here in the UK. There are national groups in almost 30 nations worldwide, and they are represented by individuals and businesses who have very much the same background as myself and others in this room. What we are about is representing our membership. Our membership is the most important part of KNX UK, and we're on a constant drive to increase that membership through providing value, providing information, and being the one stop for anything to do with KNX in the United Kingdom, whether you're an installer or whether you are a customer seeking a KNX solution for your property. Our future is very much in our own hands. In any professional association, the whole idea is to bring a collective of people together to improve the horizons for the members and to improve opportunities. Opportunities equal business, business equals money, in simple terms. The reason we exist and the reason we are as effective as I believe we are, and you're looking at me as a member of probably 16 years of this association, paying fees to be part of this collective. And the strength of KNX UK as any association is in its membership and what its membership are prepared to do to further the messaging and the direction of the association. We're very lucky in KNX UK. We have got some fantastic members who are maybe non-contributing members of the association, but we're also really lucky to have some exceptionally talented people working on the board, and I'm taking no credit on this myself, but there are a few of my fellow board members who are captains of their industry, who have decades upon decades of experience within these industries and are really there for the betterment of all of us. They're not looking at their own horizons solely. They want to see an industry that's robust. They want to see an industry that's resilient. And they, like myself, and hopefully like yourselves for watching this, truly believe KNX is the protocol of choice. There are very few protocols in the world that follow the same set of principles that KNX does. And if I was to explain to you that in the 30 years that KNX has been operating, the language that is used, the protocol that this is based around, has not changed. It's expanded, it's grown, it's allowed more and more functions to be carried within it, but the basis of this protocol has not changed in over 30 years. And I don't think there is any protocol in the world that has a similar trajectory as this. Even something as commonplace as Windows has changed so dramatically in the last 10 years that you won't find support for Windows 8, 7, certainly Windows 98, 95. And when you consider that some of industry's biggest machines and biggest development processes still run on systems like Windows 95 and 98, you'll see the cumbersome approach that some protocols have to maintain and adopt. And I can assure you that KNX as a protocol is definitely not in the same boat as that. It's a clean, concise protocol that has been robustly proven to provide exactly what they designed it to do 30 years ago. And to that, I think, is a fantastic acknowledgement of the power of KNX. The future of KNX is in our hands. By that, I mean that as a board member, I helped contribute towards the direction that KNX UK takes, along with my other 9 board associates that I work with. We'd like to think that we're actually steering this association in a direction which is for the benefit of all. Anyone who works with or uses KNX for solutions in the United Kingdom, we would like to think there is absolute relevance to you being a part of the KNX UK Association. Our future is in our hands. Also means that if you, as a member, want to become a representative of the board, we positively encourage that. Bring your thoughts to the table, bring your ideas to the fore, so that we can make the most of those and develop KNX and KNX UK as the absolute choice. Involvement. So some of the involvement that we would expect has just been talked about, but there's nothing wrong with you sticking your neck out and coming forward with ideas that you think are incredibly relevant to your particular business and the sector you operate in. KNX is not about smart homes, it's not about intelligent offices, it's not about speedy railways, it's about all buildings and it's about all applications in those buildings where electrical control is important. That can be from light fittings as a very basic standard input into that, facade control, HVAC, ventilation, heating, cooling, even audio and people counting, people recognition so that you actually know how many human bodies are in a building at any given time. These can all be done by isolated systems already, but when you include all of this within a KNX protocol and system, you're all of a sudden making some incredibly good cost savings because you're sharing technology across the platform, but you're also extrapolating some superior benefits from this, whether that's reducing the amount of AC load based on the fact your office building only has 180 people in it, as opposed to the maximum capacity of 500. And it really is down to the development of systems by individuals and companies which will take advantage of these moments. That involvement is one element, but if you have a particular need to try and get policy change, we're here to help. We have sat on panels at Portcullis House with the government, with ministers, and had discussion about assisted living. We are very open to all of these channels of discussion, and we would like to think that between the 10 board members that we have and the wider community that are already members, we have an immense amount of skill, knowledge and experience in these fields. And that's absolutely what we want to encourage from you for the future, is to increase your level of involvement and to make sure that any of the nuances and skill sets that you have, you bring to the table. We're not trying to get you to share your IP, your intellectual property, but we're actually trying to get you to become involved and make our community stronger and more diverse. And if KNX is considered to be the first choice for building controls, everyone who's involved in it stands to benefit, whether you're a small contractor or whether you're a huge contractor. Working with industry, it's really important to look at what is around you when you look at building controls, typically it's a very isolated field. You may have an M&E consultant who is particularly up on building controls. You may have an interior designer who likes finishes of certain products. But that very rarely is the first consideration when a building is being financed and when a building is being developed. And it's really important to make sure that all of these fields of expertise are aware of what their choices are. We have members who really target architects because architects make some final decisions on perhaps some of the building treatments internally and externally. And that is a great path for development and for working with industry. But mechanical and electrical consultants, they're a really good pathway. Facilities managers, even managing directors of companies. And then if you take it up a scale even further, the chief executives, the chief financial officers, they can all be stakeholders in the information that we can provide and that you can use to sell your propositions. And then finally, at the top of the tree, you might have ministers, you might have government, you might have the House of Lords. And these are all genuine pathways which can affect change. The assisted living bill at the moment, which is being talked about both in Parliament and in the House of Lords, is being championed by some really active and effective ministers and lords themselves. We've been involved in a small part of that, and it's an area where development is key. But knowledge is the absolute requirement. If they don't know that KNX exists, then it won't even be on the table for discussion. So working with industry is a really important development that we will continue to work with. Education, letting people know exactly what is going on with KNX, making sure they're aware of what KNX can do, making sure they're aware that KNX has a choice of maybe 100 different switch manufacturers, and each of these switch manufacturers might have a choice of 30 different finishes, colours and functions on their switches. That gives your customer, the designer, the architect, the end user, a huge choice. And that is a really important part of integrating technology into buildings. In the past, you may have seen walls in buildings that had a light switch, an HVAC controller, a ventilation controller, maybe some audio control, all on the wall as you enter a room. We're at an exhibition centre at the moment. I'd hasten to add most of the rooms that are operating in this building have exactly that treatment. And it doesn't have to be like that. It can be very slick, it can be very minimal, it can give all of the control you need, but only allow you to get your hands on the things that actually affect your moment in that space. Educating people, decision makers, the people who design these spaces as to the correct way to look at this is really important, but it's also important that they understand that they don't have to be technologically adept in all of these fields, but that they should consider having partnerships with companies who are. And there's nothing wrong with asking an expert to find out exactly what their viewpoint would be on how to treat a space. Education is key, and it's an area we continue to improve on as an association. Key initiatives. So we're looking at key initiatives at the moment. We've developed a few over the last 24 months. One of the few benefits of having lockdown has meant that we've had people who've had time to give. They've been working from very stripped down environments, perhaps more efficient processing, where they're perhaps not travelling for 20 hours a week, 10 hours a week. And that, to our benefit, has allowed us to develop some products. The key initiatives we've developed over the last 24 months are what we call our onboarding pack, which we will talk about a little bit more later on. Within this, we've structured a code of conduct, we've structured contracts for engagement, we've structured how to build a project up on paper or electronically before you even present it to a customer or client. And these initiatives have all been able to give us some superb tools to offer to our members. We will talk about these more later, but these initiatives are what makes the association so powerful. And I mentioned earlier about the membership on the board being incredibly adept and experienced, and that has only helped us develop these key initiatives. But we're always on the lookout for more. And whether that's appearance at trade shows like Future Build, who consider us to be an equal partner in this show in terms of credibility and technology. As we develop over the next 24 months, we will cherry pick some more of these shows to make sure that we do have a presence And I want to assure you we don't pay big bucks to be at these shows, because people realise that we're a draw to these shows, and we need to continue pushing that message. Key initiatives, do come forward if you have any, please. Presence, I mentioned the shows. We're here at Future Build today. We have presence at as many shows as we consider it's viable, but we're very clear about our involvement. We are not going to spend our membership's money appearing at these shows, because we feel we do not need to. We feel that the shows need to accept and acknowledge that KNX is a show partner with some serious clout and effect. The KNX Association globally covers virtually every part of the world. The national groups cover a huge part of the world, and the number of KNX partners who are engineers who have the KNX qualification continues to grow. Licensing for ETS, the tool software, continues to grow. And with hundreds of thousands of licenses sold, you can see that ETS and KNX is not just a simple solution that is here for a moment. It's a long-term investment for the people who are involved. And our presence is really important, whether that's in the media, digital largely these days. The absence of printed media is notable, but that is, I think, a good thing. But we are involved in magazine articles on a monthly basis, and whether that's your trade publication for electricians, your trade publication for security, and for smart buildings, you will find an article by a member of us or a board comment, all pulled together by our association. And we have funds that we allocate to PR and marketing. Our marketing team are very effective in doing this, and we have very good relationships with editors and people who pull together these publications, who, even when they give us 48 hours to pull together an article, because we've been doing this for so long and because we have a very strong community, we're able to provide unique and fresh articles almost at the drop of a hat. Our marketing and PR won't appreciate me saying that, because that will just throw more work their way, but it's one of the effects that we have, and it's part of our presence in the industry. Finally, our future is bright, and our future is with KNX. When I started working with KNX almost 20 years ago, I had become disillusioned with the amount of protocols I'd picked up for clients, for projects that were disparate, that were different. There's a very well-known British company who had 3 protocols in products when I made the switch to KNX. And I was so disillusioned by that fact that I had to speak to a different expert. I had to speak to a different person about how to resolve an issue, and every solution was slightly different from the previous solution. KNX is not that at all. And one of the benefits, I think one of the biggest benefits of KNX is the community that it engenders. The people that I know within the KNX industry, I've known all of my KNX life, so 18 years. And I still continue to have great chats with them, great conversations, and they are fonts of knowledge themselves. Some of them are tutors, some of them have very large businesses, some of them are just single operators, and the community is absolutely everything. Our future is very bright with KNX. I'd like to thank you for your time. If you have any further questions, please get in touch with Tracy within the admin for KNX UK, and she will be delighted to give you any information you require. Thank you.